Imagine this. You wake up on your 16th birthday thinking about cake, balloons, maybe some friends from school dropping by for a quiet night. You scroll through your phone, send out a few invites, and laugh to yourself about how grown up you feel. Nothing unusual, just a teenager in a small town wanting to celebrate. But by the time the sun sets, your little celebration has become something else entirely. Strangers are pouring into your town, the streets are filling, police are standing by in full riot gear, fires are lighting up the night, cars are overturned, shops are looted, and by midnight, your birthday party has turned into one of the most infamous riots the world has ever seen. This is the true story of how a simple Facebook mistake destroyed a quiet Dutch town, left dozens injured, millions of dollars in damage, and turned one girl's sweet 16 into an international nightmare. It begins with a girl named Merte. Just like any other teenager, she wanted to celebrate turning 16. So, she did what many of us would do. She made an event on Facebook, she wrote a little description, she invited her classmates, about 78 people in total. Harmless, right? But here's the twist. The part that would change everything. Instead of marking the invite as private, she left it open, public. Anyone could see it, anyone could share it. And in a world where the internet moves faster than wildfire, that tiny mistake was all it took for everything to spiral out of control. At first, nothing seemed strange. A few extra names popped up on the guest list, friends of friends, curious classmates. But soon, it wasn't just local teenagers clicking attend. It was strangers from across the Netherlands. People Merte had never met, people who lived hours away. Within days, thousands had RSVP'd. They weren't asking if they could come, they were declaring it. Thousands of people ready to descend on a small town of just 18,000 residents for a party that didn't even exist. Think about it. One moment you're laughing with your friends about cake, the next moment your name is trending across the country. Project X Haren, they called it. The nickname was inspired by a Hollywood movie called Project X, where 3 kids throw a party that spirals out of control. The difference is, this wasn't fiction, this wasn't scripted, this was real, and no one, not Merte, not her parents, not the police, not the town, could stop it. Imagine living in that town, Haren, a quiet place in the north of the Netherlands. People went about their days peacefully, shops opened and closed at the same hours, neighbors knew each other. It wasn't the kind of place where you'd expect chaos, but suddenly on September 21st, 2012, thousands of strangers began arriving. They came on foot, on bicycles, in cars, on trains. Many were teenagers themselves, some were older. They came not just for a party, but because they wanted to witness history, to be part of the madness, to say, I was there. The police tried to prepare, barriers were set up, officers lined the streets. But what do you do when 3,000 people flood into a town that wasn't built for it? By nightfall, the energy shifted, the crowd swelled, music blasted from portable speakers. People were drinking, chanting, laughing, pushing. And when they realized there was no party, no house with balloons, no birthday girl waiting to welcome them, frustration began to rise. Anger bubbled up, and then, like a switch being flipped, the night exploded. Windows shattered, shops were stormed, bikes and cars were flipped over and set on fire. Streetlights went dark, the air filled with the smell of smoke and broken glass. People ran, screamed, some cheered. Others threw stones and bottles at police. Officers in riot gear clashed with the mob. Tear gas filled the air, the sound of sirens cut through the chaos. And in the middle of it all was the truth. This all started because of a single Facebook invite created by a 16-year-old girl who just wanted cake and laughter with her friends. 36 people were injured that night, 36, some with broken bones, others bruised and battered. One man was beaten so badly his jaw was broken. The damage to the town was staggering. Shops looted, streets destroyed, millions in repairs. And what about Merte? She never asked for this. She never wanted it. Her family had to go into hiding, terrified of what might happen if people blamed her directly. She wasn't even at the riot. She was gone, taken away for her own safety. And yet, her name was everywhere. Her birthday became a symbol of chaos. Think about how insane that is. A single click, a single mistake, and suddenly an entire town is torn apart. That's the world we live in now, where one post, one share, one moment of carelessness can spin into something you can't control. Maybe you felt that yourself. Maybe you've posted something you regretted. A picture, a comment, a joke that people didn't take the way you meant it. Most of the time, the damage is small, but for Merthe, the damage was enormous. It wasn't just her reputation on the line, it was her town, her neighbors, her country. The mayor of Haren resigned after the disaster. He admitted he couldn't handle it, that the police response failed. Politicians argued about who was to blame. Was it the girl's fault? Was it the parents' fault? Was it Facebook? Or was it the crowd of people who chose chaos over common sense? Everyone pointed fingers, but no one could change what had already happened. The night was burned into history. Project X Haren became a warning to the entire world. But here's where it gets even stranger. You'd think people would learn from it, that the chaos would scare them. Instead, for many, it became a legend, a badge of honor. Young people bragged about being there. They uploaded videos to YouTube. Clips of fights, of fires, of smashed windows spread online. They wanted to be remembered as part of the madness. Some called it the party of the century, even though no actual party ever took place. Think about how twisted that is. A disaster, injuries, arrests, destruction, and people still called it the party of the century. It shows you something about human nature, about our hunger for chaos, for excitement, for stories we can tell later. And maybe it shows you something about yourself too, because you're listening right now, wondering what happens next, hungry for every detail. That's the thing about stories like this. They're not just entertainment, they're mirrors. They make us ask questions we'd rather avoid. What would you have done if you'd seen that invite? Would you have laughed and ignored it? Or would curiosity have pulled you into the crowd? Would you have gone just to see what would happen? That's the uncomfortable truth. Many of us want to believe we'd stay home, that we'd be smart, but deep down, we know how tempting it is to be part of something bigger than ourselves, to be able to say, I was there, even if there is chaos. And that's why this story matters, because it's not just about one girl in the Netherlands, it's about all of us. It's about the way the internet blurs the line between reality and fiction, about how fast things can spiral, about how one moment can change everything. You don't need to live in Haren to understand it. You don't need to be Dutch. You just need to be human, with a phone in your hand, a feed you scroll every day, and a curiosity that sometimes gets the better of you. Now, you might be wondering what happened after. The arrests, the trials, the consequences. Dozens of people were taken into custody that night. Some went to court. Some faced heavy fines. Families were left paying for damages. The police were criticized for their slow and weak response. The government promised it would never happen again. And for Merthe, she tried to return to a normal life. But imagine being her. Every time she hears the word party, every time she sees a Facebook event, she remembers. Her birthday isn't just her birthday anymore, it's a global cautionary tale. But here's the strangest part. If you search her name, if you look up Project X Haren, you'll find thousands of people still fascinated, still obsessed. Even years later, people debate it. They ask, could this happen again? And the answer is yes, absolutely yes. In fact, in today's world, it could happen even faster. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. It wouldn't take days for an invite to spread. It would take minutes, maybe seconds. Think about that. Think about how one careless post could turn your town into the next Haren. It's chilling, isn't it? That's why this story sticks with you, because it's not finished. It could happen again, anywhere, to anyone, maybe even to you. And that's why you're still listening, because deep down, you know this isn't just history. It's a warning about power, about technology, about human curiosity, a warning we can't ignore. So the next time you create a post or send an invite or share something with the world, think about Merthe, think about Haren, think about how quickly ordinary life can turn extraordinary, and not always in the way you want. This story isn't just about the past, it's about the future. And maybe, just maybe, by remembering it, you'll stop history from repeating itself. And if you're like me, if you can't believe how one small mistake could explode into something so massive, then you know there are more stories like this, stories that will shock you, stories you'll never forget, and I'll be here to tell them to you. So stay with me, subscribe now because you don't want to miss the next one. Trust me, you have no idea what's coming.